Hey folks, this is Ty, the dog trainer with dogbehaviouronline.com, and I'm coming to you with a question from one of the readers of our website. And just as a reminder, you can always come to our website, dogbehaviouronline.com, to get your question answered. Just send us a question. You can click the link down below this video and find a link to our website, dogbehaviouronline.com. But the question here is, hi Ty, thank you so much for your interest in my question. I have a 10-year-old Chihuahua. She has always been a barker, but we lost our older dog back in May of 2012. And since then, Chloe, our Chihuahua, has seemingly gotten worse. Actually, I've noticed since I first asked the question about her barking on your website, she not only barks at my husband when he puts down the foot to the recliner, but she also barks at me too. But any other movement that he makes, she barks at him. I've thought that she was having some anxiety since the loss of our other dog, since she is alone now, and I'm looking into getting another dog. She had always had our other dog ever since she was born. Any suggestions? She's very smart and attentive to me when I do training sessions with her. I have tried ignoring her when she barks. That doesn't help. I have tried telling her no, that doesn't help. I literally go over to her and put my hand in front of her face, and then she will let up, but it's every time, time after time. Thanks so much. Okay, first off, thank you for telling me what you have tried, and that's important because we get a lot of questions from people, and I don't know what they've tried, so it's hard to tell, what's working, what's not working, and so, but also it's important to understand why things aren't working, and so telling her no, of course, the reason that doesn't work is because why would it work? Why would she understand no? Why would she understand banana? Why would she understand shoe? These words have no meaning until we give them meaning. And so by just simply telling a dog in a stern voice something, this is one of the biggest myths that I see in dog training. A lot of people think that you can train with a tone of voice. And there is some truth that if you use a certain tone of voice that, that might stop a dog for a little bit. Some dogs, not all dogs, but some dogs. But the reality is most dogs, this then leads to having to use more of a tone, and finally you're yelling at the dog because the dog realizes, oh, I don't care about a tone. Go ahead and use a sharp tone with me. I don't care. So tone of voice typically isn't going to work. The ignoring is another method that I see pretty prevalent nowadays, and I see it with biting. People say, oh, if the dog is nipping at you, just ignore it. If the dog is jumping on you, turn your back and ignore it. If the dog is barking, ignore it. Now, there is a time and a place for that. Ignoring can work because for some dogs, if you ignore the behavior, they don't get any pleasure. They're not getting your attention as a result, whether it's the nipping, the barking, the jumping, whatever. They're not getting your attention, and so some dogs, they'll move on to something else. So it can work. The reality is for most dogs, it just doesn't work very well, if at all, simply because a lot of dogs, they're not jumping necessarily for the attention. They just like to jump, and just jumping on you is reward enough, or just biting you is reward enough because it feels good on their mouth. Or in the case of your dog, just barking is reward enough because the dog's feeling anxious, she's feeling nervous, and so, just getting that out in the form of barking, she doesn't require your attention in order to have that behavior be, feel good. The simple act of barking makes her feel a little bit better, and so in any case, like I say, ignoring it, like I say, is typically not a good strategy. Just telling a dog no is typically not a good strategy. What I like to do, well, and let me go back to this. Is it some anxiety issues? I would say yes. But is another dog going to solve that? I would say no, simply because you mentioned that she's always been a barker. Now, yes, she got worse when the other dog died, but she's always been a barker, and so she's always had these anxiety issues. And so just giving her another dog is kind of like putting a Band-Aid over the top and saying, here, we hope you kind of feel better because there's another dog around. But in reality, bringing another dog does nothing to address the root cause, which is a dog that feels anxious, nervous. There could even be a little bit of controlling, busybody. I call them micromanagers in there. I call them micromanagers, especially when they bark at somebody because they move. They move. No, you're not supposed to move. I'm going to bark at you. No, you're not supposed to put the foot down on the recliner. No, you're not supposed to do that. So, anyways, dogs like that, I call them micromanagers because they're always trying to tell you what to do and tell you how to live and tell you how to be, and I don't like that. So what do we do to fix this? Well, we turn the tables, and we put you in that leadership role to where you're the one explaining to her, no, this is how I want you to be. Because like I say, she's been doing it to you, and what she does is every time she barks, she successfully gets you to come over and put your hand in her face, which it helps her cope. It helps her feel better because, okay, I controlled mom. Mom came over. Okay, this is going to work. Next time I'm going to keep barking because it got her something that worked for her. And so what we need to do, like I say, is provide her a what else. And so you mentioned she does good in training sessions. What you need to do is you need to make all the time as a training session. And so for a dog like this, I would focus pretty heavily on a place command. Place meaning go to your bed and stay. And so what I would do is leave a leash on her, and when she starts barking like crazy, I would, no, place, and I would take her to her place. I don't want to come to her because I don't want her to realize she brings me over every time she feels nervous, and that's what makes you feel better. I want her to realize, no, you can self-regulate. You can be on your own, and you can be stronger than that. And so I'd take the leash, and I would give her, quick little corrections. No, 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 place, put her in her bed. Now, putting her in her bed is not a punishment. It's not a timeout. Timeouts don't work for dogs. I don't care how many books tell you that timeouts work. Timeouts are a ridiculous notion for dogs. They just don't work. So the bed doesn't act as a timeout. What the bed is acting as is a means for her to just be in one spot and process information. What she's doing is she's doing what I call a chaos behavior. And chaos is, something's going on, bark, 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 something's going on, aggression, something's going on, hyperactivity, whatever. And so the opposite of chaos is control. And so what we need to do is insert some control here and say, okay, when you're feeling this way, you're going to go over there and you're going to stay put. And so I would use a stay behavior. I say use a bed because a bed makes it a whole lot easier for a dog to stay. You don't need a bed. You can just have her sit if you'd like. But she needs to go somewhere. She needs to stay put for a few minutes. Again, not as a timeout, but so she can learn how to take in information, process it, and calm down. And what happens is she becomes conditioned, and she becomes, she over time realizes, okay, when I start flipping out, I go to my bed, let me just go to that state of mind first instead of defaulting to this crazy state of mind that takes me into barking and going nuts. So anyways, like I say, we need to replace the behavior with structured, controlled obedience. And so like I say, if your version of, oh, she's obedient during training sessions is I've got a treat and she sits, that's nothing. That's not obedience, that's tricks. What we need is obedience that is actually usable in the moment. So any case, like I say, use that place command, and I think you'll have a lot of success with that. Best of luck. Get to work.